Hello, in this video, I'm going to talk about a specific tool or weapon, and it's one that is in some ways overrated and in other ways underrated, and that is the Kubotan, or also sometimes referred to as the Yari or palm stick, and I might be, and if I'm mispronouncing any of that in terms of Yari, Kubotan, I'm confident in my pronunciation. Yari, if I'm mispronouncing, or if someone else knows another technical term for a short stick, please feel free to share in the comments. We always welcome people's observations and sharing of their insights. So in any case, what I like about I'm going to talk a little bit about what I like about I'm going to stick with Kubotan, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I believe some misperceptions about the Kubotan is. So let me first talk a little bit about what I like about it. And so what I like about it and what's great about the Kubotan is at the same time the problem or challenge with the Kubotan or the reasons for the misperceptions. So one thing I like about the Kubotan is that it is easily translates to everyday items. So I usually like, when it comes to any type of weapon or tool that you would use in the martial arts, there's a lot of really cool, fancy things out there you can have a lot of fun with, and that's awesome. But if you're talking about something that you can apply to everyday use, as much as I love swords and things of that nature, I am not walking around with a samurai sword on my hip or battle axe strapped to my back or anything like that. And yeah, that's, a lot of fun, cool to train with, and if that's your cup of tea, that's great. Enjoy. But the reality is that if someone attacks you on the street, you're not going to be whipping out your katana, unless of course you are an extra in maybe a Highlander reboot, which if anyone from Hollywood sees this video, hey, give me a call. Because there can only be one, so I'm your man. Any case, back to the Kubotan. So my weapons of choice that I really like to focus on are ones that can be easily carried, are not of high value, and the principles can easily be applied to everyday objects, or you could have improvised weapons. So training with the Kubotan, this could easily be a magic marker, a Sharpie, it could even be a tool out of a toolbox, anything like that. So I like, in terms of your training, the versatility of it. Now, I had mentioned also not that expensive or disposable. What also is, these things are very cheap. Something happens to it, oh well. So if you are happen to be carrying it, and if it were to get confiscated or lost, or anything should happen, it's not a big loss. So I do like the idea of something that is easily replaceable, and I could even just go to a hardware store, pick up a dowel, cut it down, and guess what? It's a piece of wood. Again, easy peasy, pumpkin pleasy, real easy to replace, real easy to mass produce. Now, another benefit, and here's where the benefit and the challenge are one and the same, is that in order for the Kubotan to be effective, you actually have to know what you're doing with it. Because it's such a small stick, the reality is that taking it and poking a bad guy with it, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. As opposed to a knife or a gun, even an untrained individual is going to be able to do a certain amount of damage with it. The Kubotan, you actually have to know how to properly apply it. And what it is, this is not some devastating weapon. This is not a, I have my mighty Kubotan, you know, I am now undefeatable. It's not going to happen. And if I have other more effective weapons available to me, obviously I'm going to make use of those. So this is not my go-to, as in I am now armed and dangerous. But it is a simple tool that if I find myself in a situation and if I can get my hands on it, it will help me out. And what it really is it augments. It augments whatever you're doing. So if you're not a very good fighter and you really don't know what you're doing, this isn't going to be doing a whole lot for you. The benefit of that is that it is a weapon that you are not going to accidentally arm your opponent or your attacker. So for example, if I have a knife, this is one of our training knives. If I have a blade, and if my would-be attacker were to get a hold of it, well, guess what? I've then just armed my attacker. But if my attacker gets hold of my Kubotan, unless they're trained, I haven't, the scale has not tipped in their direction at all, if that makes any sense. So where the Kubotan, in my opinion, gets a bad rap, which is accurate, but unfortunately it gets too broad of a label, is that when someone purchases something like a Kubotan or a little trinket as a self-defense weapon or tool, well, without the training, it's absolutely useless for them. It's like the individual who has a can of mace and it ends up in the bottom of their book bag or in the bottom of their purse. I remember vividly having a conversation with a woman, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I say this in love and kindness. In the hopes that no one else makes this mistake. But I was talking to this woman, and she was, we were talking about, self-defense and being able to protect yourself, and she got all excited, and she was like, "Oh, yes, so I always carry with me my mace so that I can, to take care of myself if someone were to attack me on the street." And I kid you not, she then excitedly pulled out her purse and starts digging through it, trying to find her mace, which was all the way at the bottom. I think I sat there and waited like well over a minute. And all I can think is, lady, you'd be better off hitting your attacker with your purse than trying to get your mace in there. Because, she couldn't even get to it. And that is the unfortunate thing about self-defense weapons, such as the Kubotan or mace, is that people, there's this misperception that oh my gosh, I have this, now I'm armed, and you're not, if you don't know what you're doing with it. And then that gives that particular weapon a bad rap, and it gets categorized as a useless self-defense tool. And to a certain degree it is, but it's not. Because again, if you know what you're doing, it can significantly augment what you're capable of. So real quick demonstration, I'm gonna pick on Dallas a little bit. Dallas, if you join me out here, okay? So real quick, so with the Kubotan, right out of the gate, and here's just a simple way if you want to take a Kubotan and incorporate it into your training, is simply use the Kubotan to augment what you would normally already do. So I might use it to strike okay? And when I strike, I'm gonna go here on the chest. It's a digging motion, and it's a strike and digging, just as I might do a strike to the face, okay? Again, fleshy material, okay? And this is to augment what I'm doing. If I were to strike the side, it might be the same as in my karate or some other systems, like a ridge hand, but I'm striking here, or I'll use karate terminology, hammer fist. Boom, it augments. It takes what I would normally do and strengthen it. Now, you can get into even some of your grappling. Let's go elbow grab, please. Okay, so I can use it here as a way to augment in terms of my my grappling, and then in here, gates of consciousness, and Dallas can feel that right there. Okay, it adds to it. Now, I could do. Could you hold this in this hand and then grab me again? Now, all I'm doing is I'm taking that tool and applying it to a technique that I was able to do and apply without the tool. So again, thank you, it is to augment what you're doing. If you're going to train on the heavy bag with it, so, oh, and then also you can even just hold it to augment your punches. Very similar if you go old school. I remember as a kid, we used to take a roll of pennies or a roll of quarters and hold them in our fists. But if I'm using it on the heavy bag in terms of my training and striking, I'm using it, if you would, to the same way that I would if I was open-handed. Thank you. So again, the Kubotan, it can be a lot of fun, and I highly recommend that you take it, incorporate it into your training. But remember, it's not a magic wand. It's just simply a tool to augment what it is that you're doing and incorporate it into the techniques that you're already using, and have fun with it. And whatever you do, don't bury it at the bottom of your purse. God bless. Have fun. Be safe. And we'll see you next time.